All right. We have got DEYA steady rolling, man. Get that in focus. Steady rolling, man. A pale ale from the UK. This is a very, very big beer in the UK craft beer scene. I think it's been so successful that it's kind of got to the point where some people love to hate it now. It's one of those situations where it was cool until it wasn't cool. I previously talked about it, asked whether DEYA is a cult brewery, and I got a bit of pushback from one person on TikTok. They're too mainstream and blah. There's more interesting stuff going on. But I think that Steady Rolling Man is one of those pivotal beers in the craft beer scene in the UK. The same as Verdant in terms of the hazy style, and DEYA did something really great with Steady Rolling Man, and it is a beer that brought a lot of new drinkers into the craft beer scene. It was like a gateway pale ale for many people. It did blow up, and a lot of people drank it. And I saw this on tap in my pub in my village. Yeah, I'm in Buckinghamshire, so I mean, this beer is getting around up and down the country. Planet Beer TV did an interview with the head brewer or the owner, or I don't know if he's both or whatever, the guy that's responsible for Steady Rolling Man. It's a very interesting interview, but it also went around the brewery and just how they've grown so big, and now they're doing interesting things with like blended beers and all that kind of stuff. But this is their, big core beer that is, a large part of their brewing output, and for good reason. I mean, in terms of your hazy style pale ales, I think you had your heady topper, you had your New England styles. It pushed the boundaries again from the West Coast IPAs and pale ales to this new style that was softer, much more juicier, newer modern hops with tropical flavors going on, blah blah blah. And then you had the likes of Verdant in the UK, who managed to just bring together this amazing kind of profile of a hazy beer in Europe, which was soft and pillowy, but then big and juicy. And DEYA was another brewery that kind of nailed that kind of pillowiness and like mouthfeel together with the juice and the haze and blah blah blah. But it was down a slightly different lane to Verdant, and so Steady Rolling Man isn't like a copy of your Verdant style. It is in its own right a pale ale in the hazy category, which is that DEYA kind of pioneered. So I'm going to try it today and let you know what I think about it. I'm myself right now trying to develop my own pale ale recipe, and I'm messing around with the water profile. I tried to go. I wanted to kind of go in my own lane, similar to how DEYA saw the hazy category and thought, let's see what we can do. And I kind of went down the brighter side of it, but I'm not quite happy. So I'm playing around with the water profile. Um, so what's interesting about hazy beers is that for the longest time, your big pale ales, your citric, grapefruity beers, they were sulfate forward, and that lent towards hop bitterness and that kind of character. Um, and your chloride forward beers were much more kind of related to more maltier beers traditionally, to emphasize that malt sweetness and malt body and blah blah blah. But breweries on in this hazy craze have figured out, if you go towards the chloride side, that gives you a really great body for the beer that allows that kind of haziness with the oats and the wheat and whatever you're putting into it. It brings out this beautiful soft sweetness that pairs amazingly well with those tropical hops. So that's what's going on in Steady Rolling Man. That's what's going on in Verdant, along with their kind of creamy, peachy yeast strain that they've got going on. DEYA Steady Rolling Man, they have their own house yeast. It's a strain of multiple different yeast which they had tested, and it's their own kind of house strain. It's a bit of a secret, I guess. It's not like Verdant that's, been released like by Lallemand or whatever. So that's why for me, whatever you say about DEYA, has it got too big? Is it too mainstream? Is it blah, blah, blah? Is it not as exciting? For me, it is one of those core pale ales in the country, and it is very, very good for various reasons. And whether you are not following it anymore, or you think that other breweries in the country are doing more interesting stuff, that's very much fair enough. But you have to acknowledge that beers like this were kind of pivot points in the life cycle of craft brewing in the UK. So that's why I'm drinking DEYA Steady Rolling Man today. I'm excited about it. I have drunk it in pubs a few times. I vaguely know what it's about, but you can't really sit and think and really enjoy and taste a beer when you're sat in the pub. You're distracted by the noise, you're talking to people, blah blah blah. So it's a different experience to be at home, to pour it out and really give it a good go. So this is the first time I'm doing it with a can of Steady Rolling Man. So enough babbling on. Steady Rolling Man by DEYA Brewing. Let's see how iconic a beer it is. Let's see what the hype was all about. Is it still hype worthy? Let's find out, mate. And with every time I open a beer on this channel, my ADHD on my brain, the side of my brain goes, did I press record? So every time I have to check. And every time it is recording. So I should just learn to just forge ahead. Anyway. All right. So you can see that it is, as a beer, it's not as creamy looking as a Verdant hazy beer. It is very hazy, but it is very, very slightly see-through. You can just vaguely see your fingers through the glass. So it is a slightly different kind of hazy beer to the ultra creamy, very, very kind of, it looks almost like milk sometimes. Those juicy beers from the likes of Verdant or Omnipollo are quite similar. So this, as a pale ale, is a little bit different. And I mean, yes, it is a pale ale. It's coming in at 5.2%. So the body is less. So your Verdant beers, your Omnipollo beers, those big hazies, they can be 6-7%. And there's a lot more body in those beers. There's a maybe higher adjuncts, more flaked oats, more wheat. The yeast that they're using is very, very creamy. It all adds to this kind of almost like orange juice-esque looking beer. Whereas DEYA, they went with, we want a pale ale that's more drinkable, more repeatable. You can have 4 or 5 at the pub, and that's perfectly fine. If you try and have 4 or 5 of 7%er, you're going to be on the floor. Most people, some of you are absolute champions, and fair play to you. But DEYA, they went, we want a 5.2%er. We want it as a pale ale, and we want it to be really, really drinkable, but we still want to be in that kind of hazy beer category. We want the juiciness. We want the tropicalness. We want that pillowy kind of soft mouthfeel. But how do you do that with a lower body, blah, blah, blah? So that's what Steady Rolling Man has done. It has brought the world closer to where we are now in terms of like hazy pale ales, bright beers, moving back towards the West Coast, all that kind of stuff. That's the next iteration. But Steady Rolling Man is like a, you know, a pale ale that achieved the heights of a big NEIPA, but in a pale ale beer. So fair enough. Right, I had to top it up because I was talking too much. Yeah, so let me give it a sniff. Yeah, boy, very, very nice, big hop aroma coming off of that. It is citrus forward with a kind of sweet mango, possibly, yeah, you kind of stone fruit esque. This is American hopped. It is not your Australian Galaxy or New Zealand. It is not like super tropical. In that sense, you're not getting that kind of pineapple or lychee or whatever. You are getting the tropical in terms of mango, but then very much a citric kind of grapefruit, slightly lemony, orangey, and then stone fruit, kind of apricot, perhaps peaches, kind of that kind of tropical flavor. So a mix of your American fruits with a little bit of tropical in terms of like mango. Smells really quite bright as a beer, really light and refreshing. The malts are just presenting as a really kind of blank canvas in the aroma. It is very much a hop forward aroma as you would expect from a pale ale with American hops in it. Smells really, really great as a beer. Let's see what it tastes like. Yeah, man. Straight off the bat, it is much, much brighter than your, like I said, your Verdant or your Omnipollo. Or I've never had Treehouse, but I think they're also on the really soft, juicy side. This is a brighter beer. It is a little bit more on the front side in terms of like, how you doing? How's your day going? Kind of welcome to the party. You are drinking a beer. It is not your soft, gentle entry of a proper creamy, hazy New England. It is a bit brighter, but they still manage to land the softness. So I'm going to go in again. Yeah, they still manage to land that soft pillowiness. So for me, this tastes very much still as a chloride forward beer. So they are, you know, they are favoring the malt sides, and it has the effect of a pillowy, softer edge, a rounded edge on the malt body, which then allows those hops to present more juicy, more kind of flavorful from their fruit side, as opposed to being a little bit sharper, a little bit more bitter, and the body being slightly thinner. And you know, that's more leaning towards a kind of an older school IPA style, like a West Coast or like a proper old school pale ale. This is leaning still towards a soft, sweet, gently sweet, rounded body that then alludes or exudes into a real juiciness. So they're kind of marrying together a brighter beer, which still with that softer, pillowy mouthfeel, which is just excellent, and just their own lane that they went in. They didn't just copy or follow the same style of just this really creamy, juicy, tropical amazingness that was going on in other breweries. They have their own house style, which is really great, and which is why, you know, I don't know. For me, DEYA is still cool. like, you know, that's why this beer has stuck around. That's why it is their core beer. That's why they sell so many of it. That's why it's in my local pub in my village, because it is an approachable beer at 5.2%. It, you know, drinks a little bit like what people know, you know, maybe some of these older generations or whatever. Your old boy in the pub knows as a pale ale, but then it is soft and juicy as well. It's a marriage of the two, and it works really, really well. I really like this beer. It is just excellent brewing. It really is excellent brewing. You have to tip your hat, reveal your bald head to the brewer. Fantastic, really, honestly. I want to say that, like, I imagine they're using wheat, bit of oats in there, but it's less. So you're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe I reckon they're maybe at around like 20%, 20, I don't know, 25, 30%. I think some of those really, really creamy beers that you're getting, those really juicy, creamy ones, they're maybe 40%. Oh, like, I think they're going crazy on some of those beers. This has got to be less, maybe like 20% or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out right now. I went 10% on a bit on my pale ale recently, and I want to increase it. It's not enough. So I went 10% wheat, and I didn't put any oats in it. And that's not the way to go, mate. You need oats. And I suspect this has oats in it. It's still got that kind of silkiness in the body, and it's kind of rounded. And I think it's important to add oats in. I was trying to go super bright, but still a little bit of haze and a little bit of like head retention and blah, blah, blah. So I put 10% flaked wheat in. But you got to put oats in, mate. You got to put oats in. That's what I'm learning. So fair play. Nice beer. I'm now going to go and sit and enjoy it. I've got a bit left in the can. Steady rolling, man. The core beer, the one and only core beer. No, I don't even know if that's true. Steady rolling, man. The biggest beer from DEYA Brewing for a reason. So there you go. Have a go on it if you've not tried it. Other breweries are doing amazing things, and DEYA are also, you know, branching out into other things, and they also produce all different kind of beers, special editions, and blah blah blah. But their core biggest beer is this, and it's for a reason. It's because they've absolutely nailed a hazy, fruity, juicy, modern pale ale, and that's what this is. So why change it? Why switch it up? Why sell less of it if you've absolutely nailed a beer? So I'm with DEYA on this one. Steady rolling, man, all the way, mate. Keep brewing it, keep selling it. They, you know, brew it and they will come, and people are bloody arriving and drinking it. So cheers to that, mate.